Hey, shalom, brothers and sisters. Priest and Captain Soccer Ward, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, down here in Memphis, Tennessee. Some of you may know me as Chief Sock G. Wanted to make this video because I'm seeing a lot of stirrings on the internet right now, especially concerning the TikTok ban that's looming, and the comments that Joe Biden made in his speech the other night, where he warned that America may be moving into an era of a new oligarchy, and we're seeing the end of democracy as we know it. And a lot of people are, for the first time, Googling and learning what the word oligarchy means. And they're also discovering that there are alternative forms of government besides democracy and communism. And I wanted to make this video to just kind of establish with people today that what's taking place, particularly as it pertains to relations between the U.S. government and the Chinese government, is not something that is brand new. It's not something that is being experienced by a generation for the first time. And I really want to do a full out, fleshed, extensive history review. But for the sake of this video, I just want to go back to the 1940s and the 50s. There was a time in America where the youth were becoming disillusioned with the government and the way things were running, very much like it is today. And during that time, there was something that was known as the Red Scare, where a lot of American youth were being influenced and learning about different forms of government and different ways of establishing societies and communities, particularly by foreigners. During that time in Europe and in Asia, there was a sweeping movements of socialism and communism were taking place. And the powers that be here in America, particularly business interests, were afraid of communism and socialism because it meant the end of a open and free capitalist society where really the rich could get rich and the poor stay poor, and you have what's taking place in America today. And so with the Red Scare, there came the rise of what history calls McCarthyism. Well, McCarthyism was a small part of the Red Scare, but there was a period during that time where this one cat in the government started accusing a ton of government officials and senators and people in the government of being communists, secret communists, and trying to overturn the government or allow influences from other foreign countries to come into the American government. And what happened during that time is communism was demonized. And if you know anything about history or the wars that America has taken place, that America has supported since the end of World War II, you know about the Cold War. The Cold War between Russia and America was really the Cold War between democracy or capitalist interests and communism, right? The powers that be here in America, well, first of all, America has always been an oligarchy since the very beginning, since the inception of the American idea. America being separated from British, being independent. That was all about the rich, powerful, people who stood to make the most money, not wanting to be controlled and ruled over by a government. That was the America at its inception, was an oligarchy state. The oligarchs at that time were the colonists who wanted to be free from British oppression and British rule. They wanted to have the power to make as much money as they wanted to without being taxed. So they fought a war to get free from Britain. And then America, during the industrial age, during the time of, World War I, when America wanted to remain isolated and separate, all of it was about business. So America getting involved in World War II. The conditions that created the circumstances for Japan to attack Pearl Harbor was all about business. America finally getting involved in that war, and the ramp up at home of the industrial military complex was all about business. All the wars that America has participated in since that time, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the war in the Middle East, the Gulf War, the war on terror, the war on, terrorists, all of it is about money and big business interests. And now we're in the digital age. We're in the age of, data collection and turning people's lives and interests and histories into tweaks on an algorithm. And so what the American government is afraid of today is that the Chinese will use apps like TikTok not only to be able to influence the youth and to influence people and to get them to sway their ways of thinking and viewing the world, but also that they'll be able to do what the American government has been doing, which is to just monetize and capitalize off of the fragility of the minds of the American people. Don't think that the government is doing this because of some noble love that they have for the American people, or some, honest fear that they have of Chinese data collection. It's oligarchs in America trying to maintain control and power over their subjects, and Chinese oligarchs trying to expand their control and power beyond the subjects that they have in their country. But all of these governments, all of these powers that be at the very top, the earth has been ruled by oligarchs all the way back into the, Middle Ages. Feudalism, if you want to go and look that up. You go all the way back to the Opium Wars when the British first encountered the Chinese and wanted to be able to break into the independent state of China, to be able to monopolize and take advantage of the wealth that was available in that country at that time. That's what this is. You know what I'm saying? And if you're afraid of, if you're just learning that there are rich, powerful people who have been lobbying and paying people in the government to, do for them what they want done so that they can remain in power, if you think that's something that's new, if you think that's something that we now have to be afraid of, then you just really haven't been awake or understanding what's going on in life for a very, very long time. But hey, maybe I'm just an angry black man. I don't know what I'm talking about. Priest and Captain Soccer War. I'll holler at y'all.